What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, breaking news out of the White House. President Joe Biden is going to step down and not run for office in 2024 in an election. Now, a lot of people been coming at him and saying, hey, you know, with his condition, it seems like his mental capacity is dwindling. This seems like no surprise. But I'm going to show you what's out here right now, but they just, you know, the news that just broke and the statement that he made. But I'm going to come back and talk about something else as well. So take a look at what they got so far.
We have breaking news here. President Biden has announced he will stand down from the race. I'm going to read the statement here on my phone. We also have Tim Miller, who's going to be joining us shortly. My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances. Thank you so much. I'm just going to read off the paper here. Passed the first safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work, and let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today, what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do when we do it together. We just have to remember we are the United States of America. Obviously, this is a significant breaking news development with the president announcing he is stepping back from the race. There was very little indication from people close to him and many people in the campaign that this was what was about to happen, as much as there were reports of Democrats calling on him to do that. What's interesting in this, I will note, and then we're going to bring Tim Miller in, is that he does not endorse the vice president in this statement. We'll see what he says later this week. And I know there's going to be a lot of reactions from people coming in as this statement was just put out by the White House.
Good evening. I'm John Yang. President Biden remains in isolation tonight, and not just because he has COVID-19. The list of Democrats calling for him to get out of the race grew longer today as California Representative Mark Takano added his name. Mr. Biden and those speaking publicly for him insist he's in it to stay. In today's daily medical update, presidential physician Kevin O'Connor said Mr. Biden's symptoms continue to improve steadily. The president was at his Delaware beach house, while at the White House, a group calling on him to pass the torch held a rally. Meanwhile, the new Republican ticket of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance is holding a rally this evening in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's the first since the convention and Trump's first since the attempt on his life.
The president has been losing momentum ever since his painful debate performance 3 weeks ago. But the question remains, who would replace him?
Vice President Kamala Harris is being floated as the most likely option. ABC 7 News anchor Julian Glover joins us here in studio with a look at her chances. Julian.
Good evening, Dan and Amma. A senior Biden administration official telling ABC News that President Biden has asked for polling to show how Vice President Kamala Harris would do against former President Donald Trump in a head-to-head matchup if, and that is a big if, President Biden decides to step aside. But for Kamala Harris, who is no stranger to being the first in shattering glass ceilings, this could be the toughest one for her to crack yet. Vice President Kamala Harris spotted in Washington, D.C. Friday afternoon with her grandnieces visiting an ice cream shop opened by Tyra Banks. Harris ignored questions from reporters asking what she would say to Democratic voters. Harris on the attack during a rally in Fayetteville, North Carolina Thursday night, making her case for a second Biden-Harris term.
So, friends, I say the contrast between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is like night and day.
The vice president remains all in on the ticket publicly as more than 30 congressional Democrats demand President Biden pass the torch. Among the rising stars in the Democratic Party, Harris, born in Oakland, raised in Berkeley, is one of the most likely replacements for Biden should he step aside.
But right now, as it stands, she would have the first right of refusal or the first right to attempt to get the Democratic nomination. And everybody else, I think, would stand back.
ABC 7 News insider Phil Mateer said Harris at the top of the ticket would be the best path for Dems to avoid chaos at the Democratic National Convention set for Chicago next month, a shift that the San Francisco Democratic County Central Committee is calling for.
If Biden steps down, we wanted Vice President Harris to be the nominee for president. She had the resources, she has the time, and she has the experience.
Local Democrats are prepared to kick campaigning into overdrive should Harris be named the Democratic presidential nominee.
From San Francisco, from the city that she started her political career in, we are speaking from the personal experience of what we've seen her do as an impact on our city.
During her nearly 4 years in the White House, Harris has been tasked with handling some of the most divisive issues, from securing the southern border to women's reproductive rights, efforts that could be applauded by Democrats and picked apart by Republicans.
There's a good chance that she would be more motivational because it would be different, that people would wake up and say, this is what it's about. If Kamala Harris is the nominee, there's only one choice. Is it Trump or not?
In speaking with Harris's close childhood friend, Carol Porter, she remains confident that Biden and Harris are united together.
Biden-Harris together is the ticket, and I know that's where Kamala wants to go, and I know that's where Biden wants to go. Kamala's values, her life experiences are to help all people.
Again, if Biden will step aside, and if is the big question, and it's a decision that will need to happen quickly. For example, the DNC, August 19th, and just days later, Democrats have to certify the name that will appear on ballots this November. The deadline in Texas, for example, just 4 days after the convention ends. Dan, Amma.
That's a little bit of the breaking news that just came out, and some of the news I seen yesterday where I was like, okay, this is going to happen today. And it did. Now, they talking about Kamala Harris, the vice president, is most likely the one that's going to, run against Trump, I guess, if she chooses to do so. And the writing was on the wall with this. This is the reason why I'm doing this story. I'm not really politically affiliated with anybody, but I mean, I watch like everybody else. I told you a while ago, I said, don't be surprised if Trump becomes president again. As bad as it looked with him, with all these allegations and him with all these pending trials and owing money and stuff like that, I said, no matter what, don't be surprised if he's back in the White House. And I think this right here opened the road for him to walk right back into the White House. And that's just my opinion. I seen this coming months ago. A lot of you guys did too. You know what I'm saying? A lot of obstacles in his way. He coming back. Now, whether you love him or hate him, the cards fell in his favor. Another thing I want to talk about is they talking about Kamala Harris would run up against him if she chose to do so. They got the Democratic National Convention coming up. They just had the RNC. So now they got DNC coming up. They got to hurry up and scramble and do this. This is why the timing for this came out the way it did. Now, if they endorse her, which I think, Biden's already said he's going to endorse her, and they put her up against Trump, I think it'll be a slaughter. I don't think she can handle it. I don't. I mean, just from the way she come off to me, I don't think it'd be, I think it would be good to watch. Because I'll be watching them debates, but I mean, I don't think she got a chance in beating this man. Man just took a bullet. You heard what he said? He out there still campaigning with damn thing on his ear. I took a bullet for democracies. People is eating that up. He got a rabid fan following of people that support him and stuff. You see how some of the rallies be. They be buck wild. his momentum is like way up here. She would have to start from wherever she's at to try to catch him. It would take a miracle. Either way, man, I mean, Biden stepped down. I know it probably wasn't because he probably think he normal, but I mean, them saying, okay, look, enough is enough. They should have been did that. Last year, they should have been did that because, I mean, he was doing crazy stuff out there. People making jokes of him. Other countries see it. They trying to hope. It's a bad look for America. But either way, man, he stepped down. That's what the news is about. You guys leave a comment. You know, you think it was the right thing to do. I think it was the right thing to do because, I mean, you know, he got COVID now. We don't even know if he's going to pull through that. But either way, man, y'all think, leave in the comments. You think Kamala Harris could beat Trump? I don't think it's enough time. I think this happened too late and he already got his momentum up. But I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see what happens in the upcoming months, man. This is going to be wild. See you in the next video. Take care.